If you've watched the 2013 sci-fi thriller Gravity, you've probably wondered how you would survive in such a situation. What would you do if you were stranded in space after your space shuttle was destroyed? Unsure about the answer? Well, we're here to provide you with all the information you need if you need to survive in space. Let's dive into it. First up, send out a rescue beacon. Being stuck in space could ultimately lead you to think, who would even come here to help? This is why the first thing that you should do is to send out a rescue beacon. Someone will probably see it, and even if not, it's worth taking a shot at. That's what Dr. Ryan does in the movie as well. When you know there's no way out, activate the distress beacon at once. The rescue satellite system listens for distress signals right from space. As soon as it hears a distress signal, it notifies the near ground station about the emergency. If we look at the technicalities, beacons transmit at 460 MHz, which can be detected by a satellite, and 121.5 MHz, so the emergency services can hone the beacon with special rescue equipment. What happens next? Your distress call is then escalated through a local user terminal. Then it is sent to the Mission Control Center, and then finally the Rescue Coordination Center. If you've gotten your beacon registered, which you probably would have if you're going into space, the details are sent to the RCC of the country your beacon is registered in. Finally, the search and rescue operations start. The authorities commence their mission of finding the lost astronauts in space. The time it takes to rescue you solely depends on your situation. Next, get creative. Being stranded in space is not the most fun thing if you ask us. However, there's no time to panic in a situation like this, and you will need to get a bit creative to ensure survival. Use your resources very carefully and make the most out of them. You may not know for how long you're going to be there. It's important to stay sane while all of this is happening. Think of times and moments that will keep you grounded and make you not want to lose hope. If you have supplies with you, don't use them all up at once. Be strategic and calculate how much you need at a given time. This will give you more time to think and ultimately survive in space. And don't let your oxygen supply run out. Now we know what you must be thinking. How much oxygen can one carry in space while running out of oxygen is unavoidable. But hold on, don't just let your oxygen supply go to waste. We all remember how Matt died in the movie, right? He met his inevitable end because of an oxygen supply shortage. Try not to panic or breathe heavily. If you're stressed or breathing heavily, it's likely that your oxygen levels will drop 4 times faster than the normal rate. How do astronauts get oxygen in the first place? They get the oxygen they breathe from water. Through electrolysis, scientists have found a way to break down water into its basic molecules, hydrogen and oxygen. This process can even be tried at home. If you have water and some supplies, you'll be good to go. One thing to remember is that no matter what, always plan ahead. You may never know when you'll be stuck in such an emergency situation. It'll be of no use crying later, so it's better to be geared up and ready beforehand. And make sure your spacesuit is intact. It is a known fact that you can't travel in space without a spacesuit. There's no way you'd survive. In an emergency, always make sure that your spacesuit is fully intact and functioning. This is because without a spacesuit, you'll lose consciousness in approximately 15 seconds. Moreover, you'll die in just 90 seconds, and as there is no air pressure for your blood to flow correctly, your body will freeze at the end. So the key takeaway here is that no matter what, your spacesuit shouldn't be damaged or in any way non-functioning. Next, be on the lookout for other space stations. Now, you may not be the only astronaut exploring space. There may be a space station nearby which can help you. If you ask us, that's your safest bet. Space stations have food, water, oxygen, clothing, and all the necessary supplies you might need. Some astronauts can survive in space for up to months, and the reason is that they are fully equipped. They can even grow their own vegetables at the station. Can you believe that? Well, technology really has done wonders. You may be lucky enough to find the International Space Station, which has been permanently inhabited since October 2000. This can help a whole crew of astronauts survive. Even if other spacecrafts and stations are abandoned, don't lose hope. You can use up their supplies and survive for more time before eventually getting rescued. This one may be obvious, but don't panic. If you panic in an adverse situation like this, it will only make things worse. You only lose valuable time while stressing over things that you can't control. What you can do is use this time to think of an escape plan. Every second is crucial to one's survival. Panicking will also lead you to hyperventilate, and this will make you lose precious oxygen. Remember to tell yourself that this time will pass, and don't at any point let your fear take control of you. Gravity on the surface level is a movie about a space mission gone wrong. However, on a more deep level, it's a study of Dr. Ryan's state of mind as he survives alone, stranded in space. Isolation and the fear of being alone with no one to help can cause you to slowly drift into a depressive episode. However, this is exactly what shouldn't happen. Stay calm and think of ways that will get you out of this and back to Earth as soon as possible. And most importantly, don't give up. One of the most important lessons here is to not give up at any cost. Even if things seem like they're not working out, just keep trying. Perseverance and being headstrong is so important. We've seen a number of situations in movies where giving up has only led to disappointment and destruction. Think about Matt's death again, what giving up led him to. On the brighter side, if you do manage to survive, it will be one hell of a story to tell. Imagine telling your friends, family, and children that you survived in space, not to mention that you may be making headlines as soon as you get back to Earth. That would be so cool, wouldn't it? Next, try to make friends. Now you might be thinking, how is that even possible while you're stranded in space all alone? Well, who said anything about real friends? Use your imagination and create scenarios. This is important because it can get pretty lonely in space by yourself. This is a huge survival tactic and has worked for people over the years. When you're losing faith, you just want someone to tell you that everything will eventually be alright. Your imagination can help with that. Just have conversations with the people closest to you and think about them being the first ones you'll see as soon as you reach home. This coping mechanism is very useful. Sandra Bullock's character did the same thing when she had a dreamlike hallucination involving George Clooney. After this, we saw that everything turned out for the best. So it works if it works. Now the most important bit for the last. Ration your supplies. Before embarking on the mission, make sure you have your personal supply of food and water to begin with. Water is not only important for the body to stay alive, but it is also required for the foods that astronauts take to space, which are dehydrated. Space foods that are preferred are items that don't crumble, as weightless crumbs can get into the way and make a mess. You should also stock up on hygiene and health supplies. Make sure you have a first aid kit, and if in a situation like this it's hard to find one, look around for it. Okay, now this may sound a little silly, but keep something like an MP3 player or a device that can play music. Psychologists have discovered that music and relaxing tunes can help a lot in space. Music is the closest thing that can help a person feel normal and maintain one's relation to Earth. So, before going off into space, you may want to rethink your list. That's a wrap for this video. Do you know any survival techniques that we might have not mentioned? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.